Okay, so I am making a tallow, coconut oil, and olive oil soap. And this was actually the very, very first soap recipe that I ever made, and I really like it. It was nice and creamy, it was sudsy, it was really, really nice. A couple tricks that I learned along the way was, back here is my lye, and if you want to put salt and sugar and silk in it, you have to dissolve them first before you add the lye. So I started to work with the lye a little bit earlier this afternoon, measured the water, put in my salt, put in my sugar, let them dissolve real good, and then I added the lye and I put the silk in because the silk needs the heat to dissolve. I use the silk fibers. So they're all dissolved and they're ready to use. So then in my bowl, and I do use the microwave, it's much easier than using the stove, I dissolve my hard oil. So I've dissolved my coconut oil and my tallow oil, and I've measured out my olive oil. And so now I'm going to add them together, and I'm going to use my hand blender to bring them to trace. And I don't do it until I have thick trace. Basically, I emulsify them together. And when they're still thin, then I'm going to pour off some. The colors that I'm going to use, I will add my fragrance oil. And I'm using a brand new fragrance oil, Abercrombie Fierce type, Abercrombie Fierce. This is from V like Victor, A like Apple, Candle Supply. And my husband really liked the smell of this when I got it in, because it does smell like Fierce from Abercrombie. And he told me, oh, please, make some soap out of this so we can see how it is. It's phthalate free, it's skin safe, and you can use it for candles and soap. So I've measured off, I'm making 4 pounds of soap, and I'm going to use 2 ounces of this. And then I'm going to make the soap. I'm going to add a little bit of brown cappuccino mica and the pearl blue mica that I just told you about. And so do a little kind of swirly thing. So I'm going to do that, and I'll show you kind of what it looks like when it's done. Okay, bye. Okay, there we have it. I have my 2 pounds of, well, 4 pounds actually of soap. They're done, and they're ready to just, I don't insulate. What I do is I put them in my oven just to keep them out of the way, and I don't use any heat in my oven, and I'll cut them tomorrow. So I have sprayed the top of them with alcohol, trying to reduce the ash that accumulates on the top. And I'm gonna make the other 4 pounds right now. So first 4 pounds done. Okay, so I'm finished my 3rd and 4th batch of soap for this Christmas day eve, and it's almost midnight and I've had fun. I'm gonna go to bed. But I did want to tell you that this soap really misbehaved on me. It was the exact same soap recipe as the one I just made, except for I used, in the last batch I used the Abercrombie scent, and this one I used the now jasmine essential oil, 1 ounce for 4 pounds. And it did not, so what I did with this is I divided the soap into 3 parts. I added 1 cup where I added the Queen's Purple Mica, half a teaspoon, and then, I'm sorry. 4 cups where I added 1 teaspoon of the Queen Purple Mica, and then 1 cup where I added half a teaspoon of the lavender mica, and then in the remaining I added white titanium. And the white titanium and the jasmine turned into lumpy mashed potatoes. So at that point, you just have to work as quickly as you can. All I did was drop and plop, bang around so I could get out some air bubbles. Now the purples, they didn't get like that, so I know it was a titanium that did that. And I've used titanium before and it hasn't done that. This is the worst it's ever been for me. But I don't freak out about it. Just get it in the mold, because it cleans just as good as any other soap. So I just got it in the mold, try to make it look as pretty as I can, did a little chopstick swirl on the top. I will spray it with some alcohol right now and put it in the oven with my other soaps that are in there. And remember, the oven is not on. In fact, I'm gonna even prop the door open. I'm just kind of putting them there to keep them out of the way. And I use the stove as my insulation instead of a towel or something like that. I cut my soap after 24 hours, sometimes even a little bit earlier. Personally, I have found that soaping rules are much more flexible than you think that they are. When I first started soaping, I was extremely meticulous about following every single rule, and as I listened to more and more YouTubers, I learned that I didn't have to freak out so much about everything. So, you know, I learned to just kind of relax and enjoy making soap instead of, you know, being a little stressed out about the chemistry of it and all that stuff. And my soap is actually pretty good. So I'll cut these soaps tomorrow, and we'll see how my soap turns out that was like lumpy mashed potatoes when we cut it. And you know, I'll see you tomorrow for cutting. Bye. Okay, so it's the next day. It's 4 o'clock in the afternoon, so it's been 16 hours since I made these soaps, and they're coming out of the silicone mold real nice. You can see there I've already cut up 3 of the loaves. This is the last one. And what I do is I just kind of clean it up with a peeler once it's out. And then I use this to cut them, a miter box, and I use this. Now, I started with just a knife, but the only problem with the knife is that I'm not precise enough, so I get big and little. And then I bought a cheese slicer, one of those with the little cord that you bring down, and it would cut the soap. But I didn't like that because the soap would move in the cheese cutter, so I didn't like that. The miter box has been the best so far, but it still is not great because I can still move the soap. If I don't line this end up with that end, well, I can move it to line it up, but then my soap is kind of warped. So, but that's what I'm going to use for now. Now let me show you what I cut. So the first batch that I made using the Abercrombie Fierce fragrance, and they look kind of weird. They are not my favorite soap. Well, they actually, the soap will be great, but the color didn't come out quite like I wanted it to. I wanted it to be dark brown and light blue, and you can see I kind of got this light beige color and a baby bluish color. And then I did put some gold, a gold layer in there, and every once in a while you can see some gold layer, but I do have some bubbles, just a couple bubbles throughout it. But anyway, it's still soap and it will still work, okay? It will still clean your body. Now, if you remember when I did the jasmine one with the purple, do you remember that the white part when I added the titanium kind of turned to like lumpy mashed potatoes? Well, the soap is fine, but you can see all throughout that there are lots of bubbles in this soap. So it's unfortunate that it looks like that, but what is still okay is that this soap will still clean, and it does smell wonderful. I really actually like the purple colors, but I guess I will have to do some research on this for the next time. Oh, look at this one. Isn't that pretty? For the next time I try and use jasmine essential oil and white titanium dioxide together, I'm going to have to do a little bit more research beforehand and see what I need to do to not let that happen. So I'm going to cut up this bar here, and then I'm going to put them on the shelf to cure for 4 weeks before we start using them or selling them or giving them away, whatever we're going to do. So I hope you enjoyed that. Give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my video channel if you want to see me making more soaps. Bye.